This next song comes from a village that I played in Essex called Hempstead. And Hempstead, I played in a pub called the Bluebell Inn. And the Bluebell Inn was the birthplace of the highwayman Dick Turpin.
Oh.
You may know. And the landlord of the pub, because it was now a pub, also it was actually a pub when Dick was born there as well. It was a pub and a butcher's shop. Nice combination. So you go get your meat, have a drink, take a bit like Ireland, where they have pubs and funeral parlours and bookshops. I could never figure out the bookshop there. You know, it was kind of weird going into a pub in Ireland, ordering a pint, and the man coming through with an apron, wiping his hand. You want to ask any questions? But the books was lots of people don't want books. You know, they don't want to divide them up. They don't want to carry them out for a start. So the pub man gets all free books. So that was its explanation. But in Hempstead, in the Bluebell Inn, it was a butcher's and pub, and Dick was born there. And the landlord wanted me to write a song that told the true story of Dick Turpin, because we all know this kind of the legend of Dick Turpin, this gallant, dashing highwayman with the feathers in his hat and all that, and who kind of danced, helped the ladies out of the carriage as he robbed them of their jewellery, which is of course not true at all. And in fact, if you look into the history of Dick Turpin, you'll find out he was a really, really nasty piece of work, and well deserving of his title, the most wanted man in Britain at the time of his hanging. And so I did this research, and I found out, interestingly, I found the reason why I think Dick became such a celebrated highwayman was partly because of the time, but mostly because, being the most wanted man in Britain, he cashed in on it. He thought he was going to get off. He thought he was going to get off, and what he did, he killed a man in Epping Forest, and then rode overnight, supposedly, on a horse called Black Bess, or Bess. Anyway, I think Black Bess is another story. But he rode to York, supposedly overnight, on Bess, 200 miles. Are there any horse people in the audience? Probably not. Probably not possible. But, well, apparently possible, but you'd have to have one hell of a horse to do it. And the reason was he wanted to have an alibi, and his alibi would be he would be at the mayor's breakfast the next morning, and he was there. So he got off, and he changed his name. But eventually, what he did was he was drunk one night, and he staying in this hotel, this pub, and the cocks were keeping him awake in the morning, and he was, he'd been on a bender for a weekend, and he wanted to have a lie in. And so he had enough of this cock, so he got his gun and he shot the cock. And the farmer said, obviously remonstrated with him, didn't like the idea of him shooting his prize fowl too much. So he confronted him, and he realised he recognised him, he realised who he was. So he turned him in. And Dick was holed up in York jail. And there, he very quickly became a celebrity. And they came up with the idea of charging people to come and see him. And I sang this song at the Albert Hall. And afterwards, a man invited me to this new exhibition that they were opening in York Jail, which heavily featured Dick. And he tried to convince me that Dick was responsible for the tourist trade in his on top of everything else. So the legend just grows and grows, because they charged people to come and visit him, and it was very popular. People really wanted to meet the great highwayman, And so by the time of his execution, Dick was a very wealthy man, and obviously he couldn't take it with him. So what he did was he bought himself a new suit of clothes. He bought himself a fustian coat and a dimity shirt. Does anybody know what they are? I didn't know either. I had to look it up. Well, a dimity shirt was a French silk. It was a very, very expensive shirt, blouse. And a fustian coat. Fustian is like a French tweed, and it was known at the time as a coat for life, which in Dick's case was slightly overdue. And so he bought this lovely coat, and he insisted on walking to the gallows behind the cart. And when he got onto the gallows, he took his shirt off and he changed into this beautiful blouse, white blouse, and his fustian coat. And then, in effect, he committed suicide because he spoke to the hangman, and they came to an agreement that he wouldn't throw the trap, that Dick would jump, and so he would cheat the hangman. Well, in a way, I mean, he still died, but under his own terms of life. So I think all of these things kind of added to they kind of kicked off the legend of Dick Turpin. You know, those days, the hanging was the equivalent of, you know, a Wembley football match or the X Factor. You know, it was the big event, and everybody went to it. And so that very quickly has led, you know, the way he died, the manner in which he died would have spread, and so his legend would grow and grow and grow. So that's what the kind of what happens in my song, but it also tells the true story of Dick Turpin. It's called Lizzie Loved a Highwayman. Poor Lizzie loved a highwayman. She gave him all a young girl can, and in return he gave her a widow woman. From the bell at Hampstead born to trade, a butcher's axe and a butcher's blade, and his childhood bride the picture made complete. But Lizzie's mother understood that boy would come to nothing good. An apprenticeship in bone and blood won't lead my girl to motherhood. Didn't he look fine in church today? In his buckled boots and his fustian coat and his feathers blue and grey. Young Richard joined the Gregorys, all Essex boys are always thieves. They robbed both rich and poor for greed and gain. They broke into their homes at night, regardless of their means or might. They rob or scold or set alight those poor souls who put up a fight. No honor bound those desperate men, they robbed both enemies and friends. They sold their souls for liberty and gold. Lizzie's dreams of home gave way, the cold nights in a forest cave, to a husband who she couldn't keep, who killed his friend then ran away. On a stolen coal black mare called Bess, they say, by a full moon's arc he rode to York, 200 miles away. With a bounty high he changed his name. He robbed a deer and a horse and game, and left his father to take the blame to jail. Till one day the landlord's bird he blew. The landlord cried, Dick, I know you. And again the drunk his pistol drew, saying, let me charge and I'll shoot you too. From his prison cell he sent a note to his brother, and inside he wrote, find men who'll stand good witness to my name. But he wouldn't pay the postage due. The letter fell to one who knew the writing of the one whose fame had brought the Turpin house to shame. But didn't he look fine in court today? In his buckled boots and his fustian coat and his feathers blue and grey. Dick Turpin paid 5 men to mourn, in new coat and shoes stepped out of dawn. Like a gentleman he bowed along the way. He stepped up to the hangman's gate, he felt his leg begin to shake. He stamped the fear, and with his friend the hangman, half an hour he spent. Then with a proud and noble air, he leapt from that 3-legged mare, and for a while he dangled free, his feathers kissed by morning air. Good mother, didn't he swing her today? In his buckled boots and his fustian coat and his feathers blue and grey. They buried Turpin's body deep, but when the town was fast asleep, the body snatchers stole his corpse away. And an angry crowd, friends in preservation of his name, saved him from the butcher's blade, and laid to rest the highwayman. They gave his ring and handsome clothes,